Everyone, hi. Big Said back again, the Industry Cosign, with the latest edition of My Friends Are Better Than Yours. For those tuning in for the first time or haven't been here for a while, but if you haven't been here for a while, you still know what I do. But anyway, My Friends Are Better Than Yours is a platform I started because I've been doing this for years and I'm just got sick of speaking to people I really didn't know or care about. And actually, some of the friends I have, I don't care about either. But I wanted to use my platform to showcase people that are doing great things, have done great things for years, and that I have a real relationship with. And sometimes the people I speak to, I haven't spoken to sometimes years, but whenever we have a conversation, it feels like literally minutes. And I wanted y'all to know that my friends are better than yours. So today I have I used to call it Tamekia. No, Tamekia. Yeah, Tamekia because of the way her name is spelled. But the Tamekia Flowers Ball, Epiphany Blue, and I know I say a lot, and I gotta stop that. But you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
But everyone, I want to welcome Tamika to My Friends Are Better Than Yours Industry Cosign. And Tamika, you can let these people know who you are, what you do, and then we'll get right into it.
Okay. Well, Grande said, as my term
Yeah.
of endearment for you. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. So I am, first of all, a wife. I'm a mother to a beautiful 9-year-old child, Jaden. And I am the founder, founder and CEO of Epiphany Blue. So it is, I like to say that we are in the business of transforming visions into unforgettable experiences. So we are an event planning agency, corporate event specifically. So we do work with all types of industries. We plan events from galas to conferences to receptions, corporate retreats. We plan events for our clients' staff, as well as we do a lot of work within the community, which is where you and I have a lot of background in. So we do a lot of events for schools and school districts across the country, with one of our primary clients being New York City Public Schools. And that's kind of like what brought us together way back in the day when I was actually the founder of a nonprofit called Hip Hop for Life, and you were very involved. So that's where I'm at right now.
My t-shirt matches your glasses. Just want to let you know
And my lipstick.
that.
You have to pass that T-shirt over. I like it.
Okay, so as people who watch this or tune in, they know that I'll go anywhere, but I try to have a starting point
Uh huh.
because what I want to do is definitely make sure that people understand why. Well, even if they don't understand why I want to talk to you, at least they get an idea of what it is that you do outside of what you just stated. Um,
Yeah.
but I know you grew up in New York.
Brooklyn, New York.
We,
Specify.
won't- we, won't, we won't
Planet.
hold that against you. But
Planet.
you
Thank you.
know, being that we both got our start, in New York and within hip hop,
Yeah.
what led you to first starting your first nonprofit and then starting Epiphany Blue? Actually, real quick question because I was thinking about it when I was you know, getting my clothes together for this.
Your fifth outfit change.
Yeah, like could I like I know you've always done your thing. Have you ever worked for a company?
Yeah.
Okay,
Not
well,
long though,
you
but
know
yeah.
that I just like I said, it hit my mind because I'm like, and I know people they start this company and they start their own and things of that nature. And I said to myself, I'm like, well, I've known her for about 3 months now, and I'm like, but when I first met her, I'm like, does she have a job? Because like I said, hip hop for life was your thing. But I'll let you start with that, and then like I said, we'll take it from there because like it was, and I figure let me ask now because I'll end up forgetting my name by the time like
No, that's a good question because I think the entire time I'd known you, I was on my own,
yeah.
right? So no, but I had a couple of jobs.
Okay.
None not when I first got out of college. So most people, like, I was one of those people who didn't have a job. I was chilling in my mama's house, didn't have a job. But my first job that I got was with this it was called a radio rep firm. I'm not going to say the name of it, partially because I probably can't remember, being almost 50, Well, you've been there a long time. But
That's enough.
anyway, so the crazy thing is, it was just me and my boss, Nicole, whom I love to death, to dearly. It was just us two, and we were in the old urban department. And we had to try to convince companies, I mean, popular name brands, to advertise on Black radio. And they had this thing back in the day called a no urban dictate, where they would say, like, no, like, we're not, like, in other words, we weren't worthy of, being sold to, right? That we weren't worthy of them selling our products to us. And some companies now, they actually are on there when I think about how it was back then. But it was a lot of hard work to try to get these companies to buy urban radio stations. Yeah. So that was my first real introduction to racism within the advertising and media space. Yeah. But and again, it was just her and I in a company full of people who didn't look like us, and that was our job. So I stayed there for a few years, and I ended up working on a project with Burrell Communications Group. For those who don't know, at the time was one of the largest African-American focused advertising agencies. Now they're still very large, but they're more multicultural. And they were our advertising partner to try to get these ads placed. So after a few months, not even years, months of working there, I decided that I wanted to pick up and move to Atlanta. So I was like, my boss was very, very supportive. She connected me with the Burrell people in Atlanta. I was able to go down there, interview. I got a job, picked up my stuff. And it was February 1998, because I graduated college in 97. So February 98, I picked up, said peace to New York for a little while. And I moved down to Atlanta. I started working with Burrell, the company that was actually one of our clients for the rep firm.
They were based in Chicago, right?
Well, they were based in Chicago, but I went to the Atlanta office. Yep. So they were based in, and they actually, I think even back then they had a satellite office in New York. Yeah, but it was really small. Yeah. Yes, I ended up working in the Atlanta office, and I was there for, again, not that long. I did media buying, which I quickly didn't like, because we're creators, right? We need to be in a space where we can create, whether it's writing, whether it's imagery, whatever that is. We need to be creative. Yeah. And I was not that. So I tried to go other routes, and the person who was my boss at the time, unlike my other boss, was very protective and didn't let me expand out to other areas of that business. So I happened to meet this woman, Sherry Riley. She had a company, I know you know Sherry, called Glue in Atlanta, and we met on an elevator going to a birthday party. You know me, I'm a New Yorker, so I'm just like, I don't smile to people. We have this thing about us where we're just like, why are you looking at me? Why are you smiling at me? And Atlanta, that wasn't that. So that was a real culture shock for me. So I was on the elevator with her, and I was looking very much like, because that's how we look. We don't smile. When you smile in New York, people think there's something, that's something with you. So I was down there, and then we ended up connecting at that person's birthday party. And she even said to me that when she first met me, that I looked I looked kind of mean. And I was like, I'm sorry. And then I was dealing with some womanly issues at the time. So I had some major pains going on, and it was just messed up. But beyond all that, she told the same woman who we had a mutual relationship, she told her that she was looking for somebody. That person told me. And I ended up interviewing with her, and it was what propelled me to want to start my business, because I literally came on as her first employee. So everything from, I'm talking about assistant stuff, all the way feeling like I was VP, because she made that type of work environment, right, where she let me get as heavily involved as I wanted to be. And I learned how to run a company from her. And stayed there for a little while. Then there I go again, getting like, okay, I got to get up out of here. So I moved from Atlanta back to New York. I moved July 2001, excuse me. July 2001, was looking for a job, got an offer from the New York Knicks, because at that time I'm, moving back. I need my own spot. 9/11 hit, and that was it. All the jobs are frozen. And you remember how New York was back on 9/11. So long story short, after that, I ended up working with Sharon Hayward. I know you know Sharon. Everybody knows Sharon. If you're in the industry, you know Sharon. She's just like the most amazing, tough cookie, inside teddy bear person you ever know in your life. I adore her.
I was scared of her.
You were scared? I was scared of her. And I worked with her. I was scared. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to. And it was funny because she's so not like that, right? Like when you get to know her, she wasn't like that. So it's like I was scared to make mistakes. I was scared to do anything that was just wrong. But she wasn't that type of person, and she actually ended up being a great person.
You know,
So
her daughter Monique was the same way.
I know. Just like her mom.
Very imposing figure, but sweet,
Sweet,
especially if
sweet.
she was for you.
Yes, absolutely. She used to call, and it was nice to connect with her too. And I was like, man, they look alike, they sound alike, they're just alike. I was like, Sharon spit her out. That was like her twin. So yes, I worked with there for a little while. Then the company ended up closing. It was a Saturday. I had to come get my stuff by Monday, and that was it. So that was 2003. March 2003 was the last time I had a job. So yes, to your case in point, the times we've really known each other, I was always out on my own. Whether it was me starting with Tanisha, my best friend. You know Tanisha, she's in Boston now.
Yeah.
Well, been in Boston. So she and I rocked for a while, and then I just kept going and started Hip Hop for Life, and then Epiphany Blue. That was a long story. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, this is about you, so there's got to be a beginning to get to an end, right?
Yeah.
Hip Hop for Life. What was Hip Hop for Life? I knew what it was, but for the people that's watching, what was Hip Hop for Life?
So Hip Hop for Life was a nonprofit that I started in 2003, pretty much right after the situation happened with the company I was working at. And basically the concept of it, I wrote up the entire concept. It was a nonprofit organization that really worked on teaching young kids life skills that they need to be successful beyond the classroom. Right. So everything from, networking, dining etiquette, confidence building, self-esteem, things like that. We would just really work with them on that. And we utilize hip hop and popular music as methods and tools for, having that information. We had a lot of so many great people that worked with us. But when I wrote up, funniest thing is the day after Jam Master Jay was killed was the day I wrote up the entire concept and kind of overview of what Hip Hop for Life was going to be. So it was about a good, 8 months before I actually launched it, if I'm not mistaken, if my dates are correct. But also that summer, there was this kid who worked really, really hard to buy this leather jacket. I'll never forget this story. And his first time he was able to wear this leather jacket, someone robbed him and shot him in the face and killed him for his coat. So I hear him having the thing with J Master J, the thing with this kid, and I was just like, I need to create something that's going to change our young people so they can actually have futures. And so I was always constantly involved with, I'm sure you too, just coming into schools. They always wanted, kids always wanted to speak to the entertainment industry people because that's the lane I was in. And I was like, I need to just do more because I'm talking to them about what I do, but there's nobody talking to them about how to get there, right? Like, how do you get there from the seat that you're in right here to where, I'm at and beyond? So I said, I want to fill that gap. So I want to fill that gap and help them understand how they can get from here to pursue whatever dream they have, whether it's entertainment or not. And all of that combined is just what made me step out on a limb. I knew nothing about running a nonprofit. Zero, nothing. I had a lawyer help me get the nonprofit set up, and that was it. And I learned everything on the fly. I made a lot of mistakes, a lot of things I would have done differently, but it was career-wise the best 12 years, without a doubt, of my career because of the impact we made on the students, and then the people that it brought into my life. Right, I was able to meet so many people and connect with so many people, and we were connecting on the basis of come in and talk to these young people. Help me do this event, help me talk to these people, help me do we did Youth Fest, help me with the Youth Fest event we used to do, the big summit. And through that, I just met so many people who were really committed to empowering young people. And like I said, you were definitely one that was right there. I mean, and I really, if I never told you, I thank you so much for the support that you gave, because you were one of the people that helped me make it what it was. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist anymore. I'm not going to go into that. I had resigned because that's what sometimes people do when they run businesses, and just, yeah. decisions were made, and it doesn't exist anymore. But you know, started Epiphany Blue, and we do a lot of work that we did with Hip Hop for Life under Epiphany Blue. So that's still going.
Well, you were the one that you actually you tried to encourage me to start my own nonprofit. And you were the first person to ask me to sit on the panels and speak to the kids,
Yep.
which I did enjoy because I know you had like sponsors like Coca-Cola, like all these different sponsors, and I enjoyed it. Especially meeting other people that were doing the same thing because it was always a different panel with different people, and I definitely enjoyed it. And I think the only reason why I didn't follow your lead was because even today I still don't know what I'm going to do. or what I want to do so that way I can, you know, um, do what's right for me.
Right.
What's right for me is like at 5 o'clock is going to be something else. So no, let me
Yeah.
stop.
No, but I mean, honestly though, like you, even though you say you do a lot, like you've always been in the same kind of like lane. You may find different ways to branch it, but all in
Yeah,
all, your purpose has been the same since I met you. Connecting people, giving valuable information, giving people a voice. Like you've been doing that. So
yeah,
yes, it may seem like sometimes it's here, there, everywhere, but no matter how much after all these years, what 20 some years that I've known you, it's always been the same focus, just done in different ways.
yeah. And I definitely don't apologize for it because, like I tell people I'd rather. Well, let me say it the right way. I would say I'd rather be happy and make no money, but that's not really the case because.
Like, clean that up a bit.
But I'd rather be okay doing something I enjoy than being miserable and making a lot of money because we both have friends, probably mutual friends that have made a lot of money, but have either like fallen off the face of the earth because they hated what they were doing, or they just weren't happy. And you can tell. And when
Yeah.
people aren't happy, money is not going to save them. And I've never wanted to be one of those people where it's like, I've had opportunities to work with companies or people that would have paid me a lot, but I'm like, do I want to sacrifice the money I'm making so that way in the future I
Yeah.
won't be happy and the money I've made would be like, for lack of a better word, like blood money because I can't wash away what I did to make this type of money.
Yep.
And I've seen people where it really works on their soul, and it's like it's
Yeah.
one thing to work on your psyche and or to work it, but when it starts to work on your soul, I'm like, I never wanted to experience that.
Yeah.
And like I said, we know so many people that I mean, I hate to say some people are soulless because of some of the choices they've made earlier in life, and
Yep.
and some haven't come out of it,
Yeah.
and I never
Quite a
and
few haven't
they're
come out.
done.
Yeah, quite a few haven't, and as old as they are, need to. But there's one person I want to shout out who made a drastic change, and that's Shanti Das. Like
Yes,
Shanti was in the industry, and stuff I'm saying she said publicly, making tons of money in a job where people just would kill to have, and walked away from it because it was no longer right for her, or it wasn't right for her. And to protect her mental space, she walked out of it and then started something that totally aligns with
I was to
the
say
passion.
worked right into it because
She is such an inspiration to me. Like she's been since we went to Syracuse. Well, she went before me, but ever since I knew she went to Syracuse, just followed her career. She's always been such an inspiration, and that takes a lot to like
yeah.
walk away and really follow your passion.
I've walked away from some things, but it's because they don't want me there anymore. But anyway, no.
And you know.
Um, so now I was definitely there when you started Epiphany Blue,
Yep.
and you and Tanisha. And actually, I think we communicated within like the last 6 months or so, either LinkedIn, one of these social media sites. Hey, how you doing? Hi, and that type of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I know. Wait, now, because I know you've always done events, and I could be wrong when I ask this question, but didn't it start off? And it could be one and the same actually. Um, Marketing.
So it's so funny because in my mind I'm like, okay, he doesn't remember that Tanisha and I did Remedy. That's where it
Oh,
started. Remedy marketing. So
yeah.
that was
Yeah, the marketing thing was in my mind. That's why. why
Yeah,
I had that
look at
question.
you having that. Look at that old 50-something-year-old brain
I
working.
know, right?
No, so Tanisha had started Remedy, and then I came on in a partnership with her. So it was marketing. She had a cute tagline, "The cure for your marketing needs." I always thought that was so cute because it's Remedy. But we ended up doing marketing and events. So I've always done events in some capacity. I've been doing events. Apparently, my mother said that when I was like 6, 7, I used to plan events for my dolls, like tea parties, and I used to have to like get a pencil and paper and write down who was invited and what we were gonna have. And I don't remember this, but she said that to me. She said she was so shocked to see that I made that into a career because it's something I was doing at 6 years old. But even through like college, I was doing events, post college, things like that. So it's always been there. But yeah, we had Remedy Marketing. You have a good memory.
That's what I said to myself. I was like, I remember, and I'm like, but like you said, I'm like
Yeah.
90 years old, so I don't, I don't remember what I ate an hour ago, let alone
Right.
like,
That's what I'm saying. That short term memory kicks out behind, but long term, we got you. But don't
and
ask
it's
us
the
what we have
thing.
for breakfast.
It kicks in exactly when we needed to,
Right,
you know.
right. Something will trigger it. And we're like, yeah, yeah.
Now, if there's somebody watching now that actually wants to get into now, this is the funny thing because now I had to tell people that there's a difference between doing parties and event planning
Oh,
because remember I used to throw parties,
yeah. Well,
great parties, you know.
I remember?
Um,
Of
and,
course I do. Negril, all them places. I
yeah,
remember.
and being that like I did many parties over the years, and great networking events, people would mislabel me as an event planner, and I
Mm.
would tell people like I plan the party, yes, but I'm more of a promoter because like when with event planning, I know that there's more involved. So I want to ask you like what is event planning? Because like I said, when people were calling me event plan, now not to take away that I could have done it,
Mhm.
but then there would be no Epiphany Blue, and I couldn't take that chance. Now let me stop.
Yeah, wait, I'm like, yeah, wait a minute, hold on. So
Yeah,
silly.
just explain what because I noticed it's a lot of intricacies involved with that, especially when it's a whole wide spectrum. Because people think that throwing a party, and like I said, throwing a party is part of event
Yeah,
planning. But like
yeah.
I said, I don't think people understand what event planning really is.
Yeah. So first of all, much respect that you have even brought that up because it has been asked my team, anybody who knows me, my mantra was anyone can plan an event, but not everyone is an event planner. So the fact that you brought this up, I'm just like, wow, like, okay, you get it. So you were someone who hosted events, planned events. You did aspects of planning, right? But for planning, so when you think of event planning, it's like taking something from nothing and creating every aspect of it into this tangible situation, right? So um, it's sitting down and most times with the client or with someone and thinking about the idea, right? But it's like, oh, I just want to throw this event, and then you just gonna go ahead and start calling people to attend it. It's like, okay, I have this idea. This is what I want to do. Okay, I can figure out how I'm gonna do it. What is it gonna look like? What's the customers? The audience members' journey when they experience the event. What's the experience when they first walk up to the space? Are they going to see scaffolding? Are they going to see broken down buildings? Are they going to see a nice front facade that's going to give them give them an idea of what the inside is going to look like? What do they feel and think and experience when they walk into the space? How is check-in going to be? Should it be here? Should it be there? What's the bottleneck going to be? It is so, like, and that's just like the beginning, like just thinking through how the whole concept of it is, what the event's going to be, how it's going to accomplish your goals, and then how the event is going to map out, right? The type of venue you find. Oftentimes, the promoters, you find a venue, it's like, okay, we'll just put check-in right here and everybody just come and have a good time. But it's like, okay, the venue has to have this amount of room from the door to the check-in because we don't want a bottleneck. And the venue has to be able to have this space open wide because the stage is going to be here. So if this is a lounge that kind of goes into you, they're not going to see the stage. It's like there's so many intricate details. We have to create a minute by minute production schedule. Oftentimes people don't do that. They just create, like, we know we're going to open the doors at 10, maybe have a DJ play from 10 to 10:30, have someone say what's up, and then we out, right? But this is like, okay, from 10:30 to 10:32, we're going to do this from 10:34 to, so it's that intricate of a minute by minute production schedule you're creating, which is why I laughed when I asked you today, what time should I log on? You said 2:52. I was like, this lucky, if only he knew that that actually means something to me. And you lucky I was about to log on at that time, because that means something to me. If you say be on at 2:52, that's what an event planner would say. I need you at 2:52 and 59 seconds. So log on. So it's just that much detail. You want to have risk analysis. You want to be able to look at the venue. What are the emergency, the emergency protocols? What are the plans that you have in place in case there's an emergency? What if there's a terrorist attack? What is it? There's like, it's so much you have to think about. And then that's just not even getting down to like decor and speakers and handling the speaker, hospitality and the decor and the AV and yeah. So, and then forget registration. What's the registration page going to look like? What's the user's interface? How are they going to feel when they come to it? What is the data we're going to collect? What does the client need? How are we going to do it? How long do we give them? When do we open it? Oh, we have to end it 10 days before the event. We have to do the name badges. What are they going to look like? How do we want the name badges to? So, yeah. So I say that to say, you get the point that an event planning involves a very detailed, intricate, organized process of creating an experience that will accomplish an objective, a goal for the person who is throwing the event. And as a planner, you have to be able to take your clients' sometimes just overarching idea and manifest it into an experience that meets all of their objectives, goals, and definitions of success.
I know this is like asking, like, what parents who have multiple children, like, but what is your favorite type of event to plan?
Oh, that's going to be easy. So I do love like galas. I do love those, but there's one that I really love that I'm working on getting more into this space, and that's corporate retreats. I love a retreat, especially when it takes place somewhere else, like a Caribbean island. Like, I just love to be able to come in. Yeah. Particularly like their internal retreats. So like when they have leadership retreats or employee retreats, we have to come in, and actually we have one tomorrow for a client, like 1,000 people. So we're helping them to create that. It's here in New York, but we're helping them to create that. But yeah, I love corporate retreats because it allows our clients to just have this connection to the employees. We like to make sure all the employees' needs are met. We like to add some, experiences and experiences, make them like really engage more. So I love corporate retreats, but as far as creativity, I love the galas. We don't do personal events. So no baby showers, no weddings, no birthday parties. We don't do anything that's personal.
Now I know, since you're a very busy person, I have limited time, and I have so much to add. No, now I did notice that I guess it's a two-part question.
Okay.
Because of course you're a female, so I was like, it's a female-owned business, minority-owned, and I have noticed, and this is something that I would enjoy. You have a mostly female staff. Now I know in the event planning space, like, well, let me ask a question because I really don't know. In the event planning space, is it more of a gender thing? And the reason why I asked is because, of course, I'm invited to a lot of events, being in a field that I'm in and just going places. And I have noticed that there are a lot of women planners, but that doesn't, but I'm in entertainment, so it could just be screwed that way because it's entertainment. But does it, like, does it skew one way or another way, or, does it really matter?
It's interesting. That's an interesting question. I don't know the actual data, but from my personal experience, yes, there's been a significantly higher ratio of women to men than men in event planning as planners. Now, obviously, the events industry is a multitude. There are a multitude of companies like AV, photography, whatever. So that's where I see a lot more of a male presence, but from my experience, it has been a lot more women in this space, hands down, from my experience. And I don't know if it's because we have, we from what I'm hearing, it's because women can really effectively utilize their right and left brains, and that's not.
You're planning your weddings at 3. We're still trying to figure out while we're walking down the aisle. So
Again, we don't do weddings, too personal, well, and the case in point. So to be an event planner, you have to be able to be creative and analytical, data and design, right?
and with men, it's either or. It's never both.
You said it. Next.
You know?
And I think that's why that there is, well, at least that's what word on the street is, that y'all can't handle both sides of your brain. And it's not easy, honestly. Sometimes, like, I can see when my detail one is dominant, I'm like, oh my god, I can't even imagine how this is going to look. So I have to bring somebody in because I'm managing, my mind is just set on the details, or vice versa. But there's times when it comes together, but almost times when it's not, I bring in somebody who can help me through it. I don't proclaim to know everything.
Well, that's why, like, when I first I mentioned you have a mostly female staff. Was that by design or okay?
No, it wasn't by design. Because we had there's 2 male staff members, two and a half. So one is a part-time male staff. I don't know if you remember Fred
Okay.
Thomas.
Part-time, okay.
Yeah, part-time. I'm sorry. Half meaning, sorry, 2 full-time, 1 part-time staff member. And the rest of the women. And I think it's just who applies, like the application, if I say the ratio application from women to men, it was like 10-1.
Yeah.
That's applying for it.
It makes sense.
Or referrals. Like, we get a lot of a good number of our employees from referrals. So people refer them, but yeah. So haven't had a lot of people apply. A lot of male candidates.
Yeah, I was curious because, like I said, like I know you've been, running your business, and I know that it. I guess it can be. Well, actually, should be. Let me pose the question as opposed to making a statement. As far as being a female business owner, even in the nonprofit field, like like I don't want to say difficulties, but at the same time, I want to know, like, is it difficult being a female business owner even today in the environment that we're in because of a male dominated landscape?
Well, I come from, my background is male dominated. Like, with the entertainment industry, especially nowadays, was very heavily male dominated. Is it challenging? I've had my moments where I had to handle some sexism. Honestly, particularly under Hip Hop for Life. With clients that tried to reduce our fee, but then we had little factual proof that they were giving other male clients, or male, I should say, vendors rather, more for less than what we were offering. So I've had those situations happen, right? Right now, to this day, it is challenging being a minority women-owned business, period, because of the political climate that we're in. I don't want to get too serious. We like to have fun. But I can tell you that of all the amazing, wonderful business owners that I know, whether they're, Black male, Black female, I can tell you that 99% are having difficulties because of the economy and political climate right now, especially when you are taking away opportunities for Black businesses to have an equal playing field, and Black women-owned businesses, the double minority, have an equal playing field when we're getting 0.01% of the budgets. So it's very challenging. But the great thing about being a woman business owner is that, especially in Black business owners, that we support each other. And I'm a member of an organization called the BOW Collective, where it's comprised of like over 300 companies of women, mostly making $1 million or more. And we, like, man, when I tell you, them Black women getting together, the conferences, just the calls we have, the support level is amazing. And being a woman business owner, it took me a long time to learn how to be vulnerable and be like, hey, I need help. Because I always want to be like, I got it together, right? My strong Black woman cape was on all the time. But as of late, it's like, no, there's some things going on. I need some guidance. I need some support. Like, and being able to be in a space with other women, other, Black women business owners and Latino women business owners, it's very rewarding to be in that space. And it reminds me that even though we are the double minority and get less of the pie, we're here to support each other. So if there's anything that I say has been a huge benefit of being a woman business owner, is the fact that other women business owners will open their arms to you, versus, and you feel comfortable to share that with them, versus I'm assuming most men, they don't go being vulnerable to their other, men who own businesses. I don't know, but I know that that's something that I've experienced lately. And I'm like, wow, I'm glad to be in this space because I know other women who are there and they're supporting it.
What's that word you use?
Which one?
Vulnerable, men vulnerable, something like
Vulnerable.
that.
Yeah.
Men vulnerable. I don't know if that's such a thing. No.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, they'll struggle through it just the same way I was. Like, I was very, I was very tough, guard, everything. And I was like, that's not going to be successful. I never wanted to ask for help. I asked y'all to be like, hey, come speak on a panel, but that's different than be like, hey, I'm making this business transition, or hey, it's the pandemic. I need, can someone help me find a PPP loan or whatever? Like, I had to learn how to ask that. And I wasn't doing that for a very long time.
Did you get a PPP loan? Let me stop.
I got the PPP loan. Thank goodness. My company was able to survive the pandemic. So
what's better for you? And I'm not talking financially.
Okay.
Working with a bigger company, a bigger client, or a smaller client?
I love the smaller clients. I absolutely love, and it's because you feel like you're making a bigger impact with them. Actually, we just changed our business model. Our primary target of client now is small, medium-sized businesses, and the corporates, like the larger enterprise corporations, are our second target. I just feel like you have the opportunity to make an impact, not just with this one event, but with that company as a whole, with that team as a whole. I love working with nonprofit organizations, especially when we're helping them do an event where they're going to raise money. It's just a different experience. You usually tend to have a better relationship with those at every level of the company versus just like this level here, but here's the president up here. Like with small companies, you usually get to connect with the president or the CEO or the C-suite or whatever, and it becomes more of a tight-knit family relationship. Like a lot of our clients that we have, like we're like, hey, family, like that's how it is, So yeah, I would say without a doubt, the smaller, mid-sized businesses.
That's okay. If someone came to you to ask you for advice on not necessarily running their own company, because that's a horse for different color,
right?
But basically planning events, what would you tell them, and what could they do to put them in line to become a successful event planner?
Well, first thing, as you know, because you have thrown many of the events back in the day, yeah, definitely. I wish you would do them now because I'm not in New York anymore because I'm not paying congestion pricing. So maybe New Jersey, we can bring you out to New Jersey to do some events at. But what I would say,
I live in Jersey.
Okay, we're gonna have to take this offline.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna take this offline because I want that you wear, but I ain't gonna tell you business like that. Okay, we're gonna say I didn't know that.
People want to know anyway. Jersey City.
Oh, you're in Jersey? Okay, I'm in Clifton. Oh my God.
I can walk to you.
No, you can't.
I actually work out in Clifton sometimes. But anyway, we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that. What was I asking? Oh, event planning. So yeah, so the first thing is you have to be a person. Event planning, and this is actually a researched fact. I'm not just making this up. The career of an event planner is the third most stressful job in the world. And it's because you have to be a certain type of somebody to be able to handle the pressures that come out of putting on something that once it starts, anything can happen. So you have to first check yourself, have a come to Jesus moment with yourself and say, hey, look, can I handle stress under pressure? Can I handle being detail oriented? Can I handle having to pivot and switch at a drop of a dime and be an amazing problem solver? Can I handle it if somebody walks up and gives me negative criticism because they didn't like the food that really had nothing to do with you, but it's associated with you, or they say something to you because something happened and they don't know how to be respectful. If the answer is no to any of the above, don't get involved with event planning, because most of the time most people just see the tip of the iceberg. Oh, that's nice decor. Oh, look at, they did this, they did that. Look at the Grammys, look at the Met Gala. Trust me, that Met Gala has gone through some stuff before you've seen the gala, right? So you have to first understand that the glam of event planning happens at the, like, this is the amount of time you spend on the glam. Everything else is really a lot of hard work. So if that's something that you love, of all those things you check yes to, then go for it, right? I never went to school for it, but I would suggest interning it with companies if you're interested with that, or shadowing people, or starting small, like hosting your own events so you can kind of get that. There's a lot you can learn on the internet now. I mean, back in the day, we didn't really have internet like that. We had to like go on microfiche or whatever, um, but now, like, you can literally ask ChatGPT to give you the whole play-by-play, summary of a book about event planning and learn event planning, right? But it's not just the process of how to do it. It's about all those character things that I talked about, all those emotional things I talked about. You be able to handle that. But the biggest thing is interning, especially if you're younger or any age. I think an intern can happen at any age. If you're changing careers, intern. Get understanding of it.
I might become an intern.
See, look, you would rock an event. Don't get me started. Said, don't get me started. So intern, join organizations. This is a great organization called the National Coalition of Black Meeting Professionals that I'm a part of. And organizations like that and others that focus on event planning, you can learn a lot of information. There's a lot of webinars, but most importantly, intern, and get your hands-on experience. Or volunteer. Sometimes internships may not be available. If you volunteer for an event, you can get an understanding of how it works and see if you really want to do it before you commit yourself to it.
You mentioned something that I wasn't even thinking about until you mentioned it, and I've actually talked about this, I think, the last 3 episodes, because you mentioned ChatGPT. And I tell people that, like, anytime I think about anything AI, I think about the Terminator and iRobot. So I don't deal with it, but I'm trying to break that barrier to actually, use it, to help, because I don't need artificial. Have my own intelligence. Let me stop. But since you said Chat GPT, how does that help you with what you're doing? Because as people already know, or people have heard, it's not intelligent. Artificial intelligence isn't an exact science, and sometimes it can be off. So when you do utilize that, even if it's on a personal level, because like I said, when you said that, it just threw my brain off. Like what like what like how does it help you, or does it help you?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna tell you like this. It can be helpful or harmful, like anything. It depends on how you use it, right? So for me, I'm not using it for like to write papers where I have to have factual data that I may not know is not factual, right? So if I say to chat like, hey, I'm brainstorming on, like, I can brainstorm on something, and I say, give me your thoughts around this, provide factual data.
Sorry.
It's okay. Provide factual context and your source, where you got your data from, right? You can do that. For me, I use it a lot for, like, if it's brainstorming or just creating documents fast. Do you know I've created like 5 job descriptions in like 2 minutes just by using ChatGPT? And I just feed it. If you have to feed it the right information, and whether it's Chat, Gemini, or Claude, whatever people use now, you just have to feed it the right information, not about you or your company, because I don't put like stuff like that in there, but just like what you're looking for. So if I say I'm looking for, a business development consultant who can do this, that, put together a job description, and it does present something in like no time. So for me, that's what I use. But I don't use it to like write articles. Like, I want that to be my own. What I would also use it for is, if I write an article, I run it through to say, okay, you know what, this is what I've written, could you suggest how I can refine it to make it more concise,
Yeah.
right? To make it flow better, but not changing what I said. And so that sometimes that may come up, but it's just really been great for creating stuff like that. Some people use it and try to pass it off on their own, or some people use it and try to use it for some facts. If you don't know the facts, then you submit that, you'll look crazy because it's not true. And sometimes it spit out stuff that wasn't true. And I just laugh. I was like, this thing is bugging. This is not what this is, but it's because I know the data. Like, I'm not going to ask it to give me something I don't know. I can't fact check. So I find it helpful on a daily basis, just for like putting together stuff that's internal, brainstorming on stuff that's internal. I actually had it for SEO optimization, which I was able to check against reports that that one of my team members did. But otherwise, it's like I don't want to use it as something that people like. Don't use it in some place if someone can call you out and be like, "Oh, you didn't write this," or "Oh, this is not true." I use the design, so creating images, but then sometimes images look crazy, so you have to like make sure you create images, like whether or not, like, sometimes the image may be created and you want it to show different people, but it's like the same people, same face, but they're like different hairstyles or whatever. And it's like, yeah, so you have to be careful with how you use it and why you're using it. But if you find that sweet spot where it's helpful, I say go for it.
I'm looking at the time, and I know you have like 14 seconds left. So
Not really. Come on, Zay. We got a
no,
little bit.
no, but I'm training myself like a Chat GPT to wind it down. So
No, that is not you, said. You like to keep it going and going and going.
but I just lost my thought. Oh, I just I can't remember. What's coming up for Epiphany Blue or Tamekia? Because it could be two different things, but what's coming
Well,
up?
for me, in addition to Epiphany Blue, I'm looking to relaunch my yoga practice. I'm a certified yoga instructor. I think I may have told you that a long time ago.
Yeah.
I may have tried to get you to a yoga class, but that didn't happen. Um, but so I'm starting my yoga business, but it's not going to be like I'm not looking for a studio yet. It's going to be very mobile. I want to be able to do retreats and work particularly with overly stressed out business professionals, with a primary target on women. Work out with do it for like young people, not necessarily high school, but like college young people, college age young people. Want to do a lot of retreats, things like that. So that's one thing that I'm looking forward to. With Epiphany Blue, I'm happy that we picked up our fourth year with two clients. This past year, we just did our fifth year with a client for doing their events. So we're looking at a lot more retainer situations that I'm excited about. Again, the corporate retreat space is something we're really pitching right now. And I'm just excited because we turn 20 next year. So I know you have to remember when we used to do, this was under Hip Hop for Life particularly, we used to do fat ropes and shell toes. Do you remember that event where we like the old school and it was like, games and old school candy, whatever. So I want to bring that back as Epiphany Blue's 20th anniversary and use it as a fundraiser, because what we also do, we started this initiative called Gifts and Giggles. And basically what we do is we provide baby showers and baby essentials to moms who are pregnant and living in New York City housing residences, where they're temporarily unhoused is what I'd say, temporarily unhoused, but they're expecting. And we like to make sure that, one, they get a baby shower that they can remember, and two, they leave with like a lot of baby items that's going to take them through their first few months. And so last year we did it, 2024 we did it, and each person left with one large diaper bag and two other large tote bags of items donated from so many people. We did a lot of giveaways like strollers and high chairs and all these things you can imagine we were giving away. So I want our 20th anniversary to be the catalyst for donations for Gifts and Giggles, because we have to find a way to not monetize as a bad word, but to get sponsorship so that this way we can do it bigger and better. Because last year the event came out of pocket, the gifts came from a lot of amazing people who donated. and companies who donated. So that's what I'm looking forward to for Epiphany Blue, next year, 2026. A couple other events and stuff that are on the horizon. But yeah, I mean, it's a rough time right now, but I feel like this is a season, and um, things, the courts are stepping in to get us some justice, and I hope that things start to smooth out, and that we are all thriving a lot more than we are right now, because I know a lot of us who are having some struggles.
Well, the industry cosign just became an adult this year.
Yes. Oh my gosh. 21 years.
Yep, in March it was 21 years. So,
Wow. See, we
yeah.
should do a little something, something. You need to bring back one of your parties that you did back in the day.
Well, what's funny? I was at Negril a couple of weeks ago, and they just recently got back their liquor license. I had to stop by because one of my friends had a birthday dinner there, so I went there, and they pounced on me. Hey, you should do parties here again. I'm like, Lord, I'm like,
That would be dope, though. Even if it's like you don't have to do it like weekly. Just, I mean, like,
so that's maybe I'll do a party, and then maybe I'll do one here and there. But I'm like, I
yeah.
can't do a party anymore. I
No,
can't.
not the way. That was, first of all, we too old for that.
Yeah.
That we ain't even want to go out. Like, okay, when time it start? 3, 4.
I mean, if you think about it, I started at 6 purposely 20. Well, actually, it was about yeah, it was about 20 years ago because when
that.
no, because I used to do Taj. I did other parties.
Okay, that's what.
The grill specifically because um I had a section called the 5 Ws. I mean, I feature you on it, the 5 Ws.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
the party was named the 5 Ws. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why I did the 5 Ws was to celebrate whoever I covered for that week. But then it turned into so many other things where
I don't
it was
remember it.
still the 5 Ws. But like I said, the site is only 21, so it wasn't it wasn't over 20 years ago. But that's when the whole networking thing came around, and yeah, that man.
We need to do it again. I would come out to Negril for that. I haven't been to Negril Village in a long time.
Yeah, like I
Like, I
said,
actually thought that it closed because I know the one on 23rd Street closed.
yeah, they closed like
Yeah,
20
wow.
years ago. No,
I
I think they had shut down like right before the pandemic or right after the pandemic, but then they reopened.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, they lost their liquor license, but they literally just got it back.
Oh, that's so good to hear. If you do something, you just let me know we're
Yeah,
there.
definitely,
Yeah.
And
I'll come.
people have been pushing me. People have been pushing me. I'm like,
Yeah,
I can't.
you need to, just for old time's sake, for nostalgia purposes. You're still in your 21st year. So even though you didn't do anything in March, you do something now, it still counts.
I never thought of it like that, but
Yeah.
well,
And
maybe.
so many people will come out and support you. Just think about everybody that you've just, like I said, been there, supported, given a voice to. Like, just come on. I said to you, I live, we in Jersey, so we already have that toll coming into the city. Then another toll for congestion. I will brave those tolls for you. So let's make it happen.
Well, it's gonna have to be past September because I've never done well during the summer, even when I was there.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because because it's downstairs and people
Yeah,
want to be outside.
yeah. No, September's good.
So yeah, and
Yeah, go to like a little of a late September, not too late. So when it's still nice and light outside when we get out. For those listeners gonna leave at 8.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I
Well,
love it. Okay, I'm gonna definitely follow up on that. That and where we live. We gotta follow up on those two
yeah.
conversations.
Tell people how they can get in touch with you, social media, things of that nature.
Okay, so you can follow. We're on Instagram, and I guess Threads. I don't know. Like you said, it's stuff that I'm just not doing. But that's at Epiphany Blue. And LinkedIn, you can find myself, Tamekia Flowers, as well. Well, not with the ball at the end, but Tamekia Flowers, and on LinkedIn, as well as Epiphany Blue on LinkedIn. Of course, our website, epiphanyblue.com. And right here when this plays, find us with Big Said chilling. So
Yeah.
but I just want to again just shout out this brother right here who has been just grinding it out and holding it down for decades in this industry. And this industry can spit you up and toss you out. We know it, but he's still there. He's still there. And not just, you're not just
They're
there.
still trying. They're still trying.
You know what it is that you're still here, but you're still here in the way you want to be. And we talked about this
Yeah.
before we got on. You are here in the way you genuinely want to be, without feeling like you have to conform to something that you're not. Because from the moment we were emailing, like your personality is still in there. You're like everything is just there. Even the name of this, my friends are better than yours. Like that's such a said thing to say. So you've just been true to who you've been, to your brand for the decades that I've known you. And I always want to support what you're doing. And I thank you for giving me a platform today.
I appreciate you agreeing to it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be blamed, for your next
Y'all
venture.
see that he keeps trying to kick me out. I'm like, bro, I got 8 minutes, but okay, I get you. I get you. You want to go back, go into your fourth outfit change. I got you.
Yeah, I want you to be able to go have a drink of water and then be at the right state of mind to handle your business. So that way, if the business doesn't go right because you wasn't thinking correctly, you won't be blaming Big
Blame you. Yeah, actually, I'm doing a conversation with a venue for a client event. So I got to get my questions right because as this was fun. This is the fun, good part of my day. This was the part I was looking forward to. So thank you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So Ted, one last question for you. What keeps you doing what you do? And then we'll stop. I know this is your interview, but what keeps you doing what you do?
People always ask me questions. I don't want to do anything I don't want to do, if that makes sense.
That's such a sad
response. If I want to enjoy life, especially if I'm not, making the type of money I feel I should be making, which is everybody, even billionaires think they should be making more. I want to at least enjoy myself as well as help people. And I think that the most important thing is helping people, even if it's indirectly, because some people tell me sometimes it could be my smile, it could be my humor, it could be me hooking people up. It could just be, some people say, like on Facebook, I say good morning every morning. And people like, when they see that, they smile. So anything that puts a smile on someone's face or they can acknowledge, then that's what keeps me going, because there's so much bad, evil stuff going on in the world. And I just want to give people, I could be some of that bad, evil stuff at times, but I want to give people an alternative when they interact with me. Even if I'm in a bad mood, I'll still smile. So that way, they won't feel as threatened. But
I would say this. So for everybody watching, so I asked Ed today, I was like, is there any particular background I should have? Because I did check out some of your videos and I see people's backgrounds are pretty much, basic. And I was like, is there any background? He was like, just don't look ugly. I was like, damn. And I just started busting out laughing. So yes, you made me laugh. I said, I'm going to kick you behind when I see you, but you made me laugh. So you are true to that in every sense of the word, because I was cracking up. I was like, this is such a sad moment right now. So yeah, just don't look ugly. It's like, you're still here.
I gotta be me, whether good or bad. I gotta be me.
Yeah.
But thanks once again. I appreciate your appearance. And for all those watching, this is Big CED. As I always state, my friends are better than yours. And if you need to prove me wrong, then your friends might be my friends too. Until the next time, peace. You like that, right?
I like that. Yeah, that was cool.
So I got to look for the end button. Yeah.
Go Brooklyn.
Don't do that.